Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from the Frontier. I trust you had a great weekend. Going through Holger's tweets this morning, and I came across a tweet: first snow in Berlin. So the winter's setting in. I myself entered not a European wormhole, but a Latin American one over the weekend. I read some Gabriel Garcia Marquez again, of Love and Other Demons, which really is a tremendous book. Two quotations: no medicine cures what happiness cannot. And I would like to talk to him in exchange for my soul, which I thought was a pretty dramatic announcement. And I'm now back to reading Mario Vargas Llosa. The book I'm reading is The Bad Girl. Well, at heart, I knew she'd never be a normal woman. And I didn't want her to be one, because what I loved in her were the indomitable and unpredictable aspects of her personality. Political reflections. What caught my photograph was Russia's war room, which was tweeted severally across Twitter. Have a look at it. It takes me back to the comment I made on the 5th of October 2015 when I said Putin is a geopolitical grandmaster. And I was referring to his intervention in Syria. And I said the speed of execution confirms that Russia is once again a geopolitical actor that will have to be considered. And I called it a breathtaking rebound. Put up another photograph of the war room and a quotation from Sergei Shoigu, who's the Minister of Defense, who said that the center is a step toward forming a single information space for solving tasks in the interests of the country's defines. Put up a photograph of Putin arriving in Antalya in Turkey. So as I said, I thought it was a very definitive intervention in Syria, reshaped the landscape and tipped it back in favor of President Assad. This photograph caught my attention from the Independence soldiers stand guard in front of the central train station in Brussels as the Belgian capital remained on the highest security alert level over fears of a Paris-style attack. Brussels on lockdown, restaurants, cafes were closed by 6 p.m. Armored vehicles rolled through the streets, soldiers patrolled in pairs guarding public spaces and hotels. Michel said that the decision to lock down the city of more than 1 million inhabitants was based on quite precise information about the risk of an attack like the one that happened in Paris. He clarified that the government believed that several individuals with arms and explosives might attack the Belgian capital, perhaps even in several places at the same time. The hotspot in Belgium is this place called Molenbeek. It doesn't take long to find people in Molenbeek who knew the terrorists involved in the Paris attacks. A brief pit stop at a Moroccan restaurant overlooking the Saint-Jean-le-Baptiste church put us in the company of its owner, Zuhair El-Hamdoui. He remembers how many times over the years he served lamb tagine and Moroccan donuts to Saleh Abdessalam and his friends. Saleh is one of the two brothers believed to have been involved in the Paris attacks and is now the focus of an international manhunt by the government and by ISIS. It is now being speculated because he did not set off his vest. Saleh was a nice guy, said Zuhair, but not a practicing Muslim. He drank alcohol, he sold drugs. And he put up a photograph of Molenbeek. It is surely an unprecedented situation in the kingdom. Interestingly, the female suicide bomber, and it's not clear if she was actually a suicide bomber or not, but she was described as a hard-drinking cowgirl. "Where is your boyfriend? Where is he?" shouts a police officer on Wednesday morning, the start of a deadly raid in the Paris suburb of Saint-Denis, captured by amateur video footage given to French TV channel TF1. A woman's voice shouts back, "He is not my boyfriend." Then there is a bang and a hail of gunfire. Jean-Michel Fauvergue, head of France's anti-terrorist unit, said that as she triggered the vest, windows along the street shattered from the blast. A body part, a part of the spine, fell on one of our cars. She is believed to be Hasna Ait Boulassane, a 26-year-old French woman of Moroccan origin, a relation to Abdelhamid Abouad, the ringleader behind the Paris attacks. Friends talking to the newspaper said they'd not seen her for 5 years. They said she drank alcohol and was known locally as the cowgirl because she wore a big hat. It's not clear if it was after 2013, the last official record of her, that she became radicalized. I think it's a Bonnie and Clyde thing. That note, I'll put up a photograph of Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty in Bonnie and Clyde, which was a film made in 1967. I think, we can spend a lot of time studying these folks who seem to pursue a very Western lifestyle, have an epiphany, and then become, jihadists. We need to study that, and I think there are more clues in things like Albert Camus' L'Étranger than anything else. Let's move on to the markets. Euro 106.36. It dropped as low as 106.05. Dollar index 99.81. Japanese yen 123.10. Swissy 102.10. Pound 151.56. Aussie 0.7175. India rupee 66.345, South Korean won 11.59.92, Rial 370.80, Egyptian pound 783, and the rand 14.05.46. Dollar index. Let me put up a 1-year chart because it's going to show you what an important level we're at now. If we can push through the year's high, we could move up quite sharply. And the market has now priced in a December rate hike fully. The interesting thing is the divergence in yields between between Europe and the US. German 2-year yield drops to a record low of minus 0.392%. So that's what's leading the weakness in the euro. And that's all around Mario Draghi, who offered the strongest hint last week that the ECB will unveil fresh stimulus measures at its December the 3rd policy meeting. The euro obviously hit a 7-month low. I'll put up a chart of it and you can see that we're now in very tricky territory. I think parity is calling after a little bit of interference in that call earlier. Commodity markets, commodity slump deepens as dollar gains. Bloomberg Commodity Index hits a fresh 16-year low. Thank you, Holger, for that chart. I spoke about this in November last year when I said the commodity supercycle is dead in the water. My weekend piece was about the universe, El-Nino, and weatherproofing savings. There was a time when I became quite fascinated by cosmology, which is the science of the origin and development of the universe. Sir Martin Rees has written the most accessible book in this regard, and it's called Just 6 Numbers. In this book, Martin Rees puts forward 6 equations which govern our universe, a universe so big that we are like a grain of sand on a beach. The mathematics of these equations is so miraculous that Rees speaks to a cosmic tuning phenomenon. For example, I think this is omega is 0.3, the ratio of the actual density of the universe to the critical minimum density required for the universe to eventually collapse under its gravity. Therefore, the number has to be right in, a perfect number in order to maintain the way it's been going. If omega is greater than 1, the universe will experience a big crunch. If it's less than 1, the universe would expand forever. At the macro scale, at the scale of the stars, everything is so finely tuned, it's breathtaking. Let's now go to the micro scale, the grain of sand that we represent. Last month was the hottest October in 136 years of data, and represented the 8th record-breaking month so far in this record-breaking year. Last month wasn't just the hottest October on record, it was the biggest departure from normal for any month in the past 136 years. I like following prices and charts, and what is clear is that we're now in uncharted territory. These new milestones follow the hottest summer on record, the hottest 12 months on record, the hottest calendar year on record, and the hottest decade on record. The El-Nino weather pattern disperses heat into the atmosphere, which lingers, and that means that this heat wave is certain to spill into 2016. I cannot help feeling we're like frogs in boiling water. We have created massive interference in the cosmic tuning phenomenon. The question is, how does an investor navigate this new weather normal? So far this year, the only commodity that has delivered a double-digit percentage increase is cocoa. Close at its highest level since March 2011 has risen 17% this year. The biggest supplier of cocoa to world markets is the current sub-Saharan African darling, the Côte d'Ivoire. IMF is forecasting an 8.4% GDP expansion, more than double the predicted rate of expansion for sub-Saharan Africa. I said Côte d'Ivoire is a signal in the noise for investors. The new temperature normal is surely going to play havoc with food supplies and soft commodity prices. A prudent investor might consider some weatherproofing for their portfolio. The way forward might include buying some deep out of the money long maturity call options on the soft commodity complex and going long the weather volatility index if such an instrument exists. Let me put up a chart for cocoa, which rose 1.3% on Friday to its highest level since March 2011. I'll also put up a 6-month chart of gold, which is last trading at 1070, touched its lowest level in nearly 6 years. Triple digits, here we come. Crude oil, last trading at $40.69. 40 handle, in my view, is set to be a thing of the past. Cracked lower quite sharply this morning. At one point, WTI was down 3%. Pro-market Macri poised to become Argentina's president. Exit polls show the black market rate of the Argentine peso got into a nice bounce. Let's move on to Africa. The death toll from the attack on the Radisson Blu Hotel in Bamako is now 21. The Malian government had earlier claimed that just 2 people carried out the attack and both had been killed, subsequently confirmed that more insurgents were involved and that 3 had escaped. I am still not clear who the target of this Radisson strike was. That has not been told to us yet. And then Nick Turse has an interesting piece. In Mali and the rest of Africa, the US military fights a hidden war. The article is quoted in full, saying the general leading the US military's hidden war in Africa says the continent is now home to nearly 50 terrorist organizations and illicit groups that threaten US interests. Gunmen are reportedly yelling Allahu Akbar stormed the Radisson Blu Hotel in Bamako and seized several dozen hostages. US Special Operations Forces assisted hostage recovery efforts, the Pentagon spokesman said. Very interesting piece. Has been talking about this for quite a while, and I have as well. I think US AFRICOM basically is a lever that no one else possesses, with which the US can tilt the African pinch. Sarah Kagingo, who does the PR for President Museveni, tweeted this photograph, the joy of meeting our president, President Museveni's campaign trail, West Nile region. You have to admit, it's a very good photographer. In Angola, which has seen its own currency depreciate by more than 34% to an official rate of about 135, essentially on the streets of Luanda, the supply of dollars is drying up. A dollar is now worth 270 kwanza on the unofficial rate. Some Angolan banks running low on dollars are offering customers euro notes and other foreign currencies after distributors said it could no longer supply dollar cash. We are advising our clients to use more euros, rands, and even renminbi. It's not looking very good, is it? Very interesting piece by Apurva of the World Bank, Night Lights in the Pursuit of Subnational GDP. And he's looking at Kenya and Rwanda, and he's coming up with some very interesting conclusions. Do have a look at that article. Denis Sassou Nguesso's dangerous game in Congo, Brazzaville, that's Global Risks Insights. Political risk is evident when taking into account that along with Angola, Nigeria, Brazzaville is a substantial exporter of oil in Africa. 74% of government revenue comes from oil and leaves the economy vulnerable to shocks in commodity prices. Should Nguesso's ability to dispense patronage, control the corruption in the oil industry, spiral out of hand, in his third term, with all revenues drying up, violence, like in other parts of Africa, is sure to follow. For the short term, all eyes are on the disorganized opposition who has suffered from lack of unity and intimidation by government security forces. So Angola, these are all very fragile countries right now, with the oil price about to sink below 40. South African all shares up 4.96% year to date, done much better than the rest of Africa. Dollar rand around the 14.05 level. Remember, they hiked rates last week. Egyptian pound at 7.83. Egyptian stock market is down 26% year to date. Nigerian all shares down 18.83% year to date. Ghana Stock Exchange is down 12.75% year to date. Africa's wildlife poaching and trafficking crisis is an article by CSIS. On the Asian black market, ivory fetches up to $3,000 per kilogram. Rhino horn is $65,000 per kilogram. Analysis by C4ADS points to 15 to 25 choke point ports that export, import, or transship the greatest share of ivory. The ports of Mombasa, Zanzibar, Dar es Salaam are the largest points of departure. Entirely unfortunate. Let's move on to Kenya. The big news here was the resignation of the Minister for Devolution and Planning, Anne Waiguru. She said on Saturday she had resigned on medical advice. Boniface Mwangi, who's a friend and I follow on Twitter, is characterizing this resignation as an example of people power. Not sure about that claim. Kenya shilling 102, the figure. It's been pretty well supported of late. Nairobi all share up 7.109% in November, largely on the back of Safaricom, which has rallied 16% since the 5th of November. If you haven't had a look at that interview I did with Bob, have a look at it, because pretty much laid out. And I was fulsome because I could see that there was going to be a very positive price reaction. Barclays Kenya has also underpinned the move higher. That's rallied 7% in November as well. NSE 20 up 3.1986% this month. The Nairobi all share has been well supported, and as I said, has been rallying in November. Safaricom's result created a positive spillover effect, and we continue to see that filter into the market. If you want to follow the prices at the Nairobi Securities Exchange, all you've got to do is register on rich.co.ke, get a password. Any problems, come back to us, and then go to Rich Live, where you can watch the market unfold in real time. Once again, thank you for stopping by. Wishing you a tremendous week.